I'm slightly flattered by the nice words said at the beginning by the person who introduced me. It is true that I am teaching constitutional law for last 52 years. So most of you were not born at that time. So I started teaching in SP College, a renowned college in Pune, as a full-time professor in 1973. So it comes to 52 years now. The subject given to me is little controversial, the role of the Prime Minister in India. Now, there are two groups, pro-Modi and anti-Modi. So hopefully I will go out of this hall unhurt, without being attacked by some of the pro-Modi or anti-Modi people. Now, let me make one thing clear, that we got independence on the 15th of August, 47, and 2 months later I was born. So I am the first generation of free India. Myself or Narendra also. Narendra Modi. He is 2 years younger to me, like my younger brother. So we are the first generation of free India. India is a democracy. There is no question about it. We have the 18th Lok Sabha. We have the 15th elected president. We have the 15th elected prime minister. We have the 26th chief election commissioner. And recently we have also changed, fortunately, the Chief Justice of India. Now we have the 51st Chief Justice of India. Rupert Emerson, a great political scientist from America, he says that success of democracy is rare. The failure of democracy is the common experience of mankind. After the Second World War, many countries in the Third World, they were liberated, disyoked from the imperial rule, and they preferred democracy. But to accept democracy is one thing, and to continue with democracy is a different story. In most of the countries, democracy failed. It resulted in some kind of dictatorship, one-party system, like Pakistan, like many other countries. In India, we succeeded, and therefore, Rupert Emerson says that India is an exceptional country. There are more than 120 developing nations. India is the only country that succeeded in the democratic experiment for more than 75 years, and under the same constitution. Okay. Now we are a parliamentary democracy. As you all know, as students of government, that you are democratic or not democratic. In democratic setup, we have presidential form and parliamentary form. Now, we call it parliamentary democracy because parliament is the most important single organ under this system. We call presidential democracy because president is the most important single person under that system. Now in England, recently, for last 10 years at least, books on politics, they are not referring to England as parliamentary democracy. They are referring to England as prime ministerial democracy, because prime minister is the most important single person under this system. Now when I make this statement that prime minister is the most important single person under parliamentary system, I must prove it. Because after all, I became an advocate of the Bombay High Court in 1976. So all old things. So let's prove it. I will use a very simple tool to prove this. The statement is that in India, the prime minister is the most important single person. That is the statement. I will prove it by comparing the Prime Minister with other institutions under this system. So let's start. First, we will compare the Prime Minister with the President of India. Article 74 says that there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President of India. That is the original wording. Rajendra Prasad was the chairperson of the Constituent Assembly. As things would have it, he became the first President of India. And then he had, serious differences with Nehru, especially on the Hindu Code Bill. Then he said to Nehru that your advice is not binding on me. Read the Constitution again. It says that there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President. Nowhere it is written that advice is binding on the President. So obviously the case was referred to the Attorney General of India. And Attorney General of India said that we have imported a system from England, Westminster model, where the Prime Minister's advice is binding on the Crown. Similarly, in India, the Prime Minister's advice is binding on the President. Rajendra Prasad accepted that. In those times, politicians used to accept the advice of legal experts. Now the thing has changed today. But then came Indira Gandhi. She said, nothing depends on the opinion of the Attorney General of India. Let us amend the Constitution. Amendment was very easy. Actually, my analysis, you will find, will be more relevant up to 1989, the ouster of Rajiv Gandhi. And then the picture changed. So there are two parts. She amended the Constitution and added just one sentence. The first sentence is, there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head, to aid and advise the President. She added, he shall act accordingly. So the question is over. If he doesn't act according to the advice, it will be violation of the Indian Constitution and can be impeached under Article 61. So, one relationship is decided. Secondly, let's examine the Prime Minister with his own ministers. The minister is appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. How long does he hold his office? During the pleasure of the President, means pleasure of the Prime Minister. So a minister is appointed by the Prime Minister and removed by the Prime Minister. So all ministers are absolutely subservient to the Prime Minister of India. So that relation is over. Actually, the Prime Minister sees to it that nobody comes up as a competitor. I'll give you just one example, old example. There was a broadcasting minister named by Vasant Sathe. At that time, we got color TV in India. So Vasant Sathe used to say in his lectures that I brought color TV to India. That was a mistake. He should have said, under the great leadership of Indira Gandhi, I brought color TV to India. But he ignored that statement. So next week, he was transferred to the Department of Fertilizers. So you will, and then he used to say, we will bring color fertilizers also. So you will find that Prime Minister always sees to it that nobody comes up as a potential competitor. Let us compare the Prime Minister with Parliament. Technically, government is responsible to Lok Sabha. But Congress party had 2/3 majority. And many a time, Indira Gandhi or Rajiv Gandhi or Nehru used to be the president of Congress. And through the party instrumentality, they used to control Lok Sabha. Then, of course, Rajiv Gandhi got anti-defection bill. Now you have to accept the advice of the political party. So in India, instead of Prime Minister responsible to Lok Sabha, it was the Lok Sabha that was responsible to Prime Minister. So that relation is over. Let's compare the Prime Minister with the governors. The less said, the better. Governor is appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. Holds office during the pleasure of the President. That is pleasure of the Prime Minister. So Governor is appointed by the Prime Minister and removed by the Prime Minister in reality. So again, Governor acts as a servant of the Union government. Actually, one of the Supreme Court decisions, Supreme Court says to the Governor that you are not an employee of the Union government. You are the head of the state. So follow the oath that you have taken under Article 159, that you will protect, preserve Constitution and devote yourself to the service of the people of that particular state. But as you will find, that is not the case in India. The governors are misused, right from Indira Gandhi's time to Modi, to topple the governments of states not controlled by the same political party. It's very common. President's rule, the recommendation is given by the governor to the president. Sarkaria Commission says that 2/3 of the president rules, they are political, not real. So Governor Soli Sorabji wrote a book, and the title of that book is Governor, the Sage or Saboteur of the Indian Constitution. Is a savior or the destroyer of the Indian Constitution. So you will find that the governors are completely controlled by the Prime Minister. During Modi's tenure of about 11 years, more than 37 governors are appointed. Out of them, 32 are RSS members. That will give you the picture. So obviously, governors are subservient. Now let me come to the last point, the Prime Minister and the Constitution of India. Now the Constitution is the creator, the Prime Minister is the creature. The rule of nature is that the creator controls the creature. In India, it is the creature that controls the creator. Because after all, you can amend the Indian Constitution with 2/3 majority in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and in few cases ratified by 1/2 of the states. Now up to 89, as I said, Nehru, Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, Congress had 2/3 majority in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and controlled more than 1/2 of the states. So whenever they wanted, they could amend the Constitution. I will give you just one example. In America, he had stay in America for many days. If you want to amend the Constitution, it takes years. It is discussed in universities, in Senate, in House of Representatives, in journalism. In India, Constitution could be amended in days. One example, 39th Amendment. Allahabad High Court gave a decision against Indira Gandhi, and she was found guilty of electoral corruption. Under the Representation of the People Act, if you are guilty of electoral corruption, then you are disqualified for 6 years. And if you are not a member of parliament for 6 months, you cannot continue as a minister. So it was a full stop to Indira Gandhi's career. At that time, Sanjay Gandhi was the advisor of Indira Gandhi. And he said, Mom, amend the Constitution. And the Constitution was amended that if it is the dispute of the Prime Minister's election, it cannot be referred to any court on any ground in India. Then where do we go? You go to a committee formed by the parliament where she had majority. This was an unconstitutional amendment. We live in a rule of law. Rule of law means from the from the Prime Minister to the police constable, everybody is equal. And here you are singling out the Prime Minister. But this extremely unconstitutional amendment was passed in 4 days. It was introduced in Lok Sabha in the morning, passed in the evening. Opposition had been in jail under MISA. Only Congress members were present. Then Rajya Sabha next day, introduced in the morning, passed in the evening. Then half of the legislatures of states were called for special session, and in 1 day, more than half of the states passed, ratified. And on the 4th day, it was placed before the President for assent. If it is a constitution amendment bill, President has to assent. He cannot return it. So in 4 days only, Constitution was amended. I used to teach in the ILS law. I was heading the Department of Constitutional Law. And I said, our name should be introduced in the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest amendment to the Constitution. But that record is broken by Modi. Indira Gandhi's all records are broken by Modi. One amendment of economic weaker sections that was passed in 2 days. Introduced on Tuesday in Lok Sabha, passed. On Wednesday, passed, and same evening it was placed before the President. So Modi holds the record of the fastest because 140 opposition members were ousted from Parliament for unparliamentary behavior. So, instead of Prime Minister being controlled by the Constitution, it was the Constitution that was controlled by the Prime Minister up to 89. Now the picture changed. We had a chain of very weak Prime Ministers, VP Singh, Chandrasekhar, etc., etc. Gujral, very weak Prime Ministers. I remember this women reservation bill, 1/3 reservation for women, that was introduced during that time. And I had the honor that I was invited to the Joint Select Committee of Parliament to speak in front of that committee to give the picture of the world representation of women in various legislatures. So I went there. Gujral was all in tears. It was inaugurated by, he said, she's a goddess, she must be given 1/3 reservation, etc., etc. Then after that, there was a tea session. So I said, sir, if you're so convinced that women should be given 1/3 reservation, why don't you introduce that bill in Parliament? He said, Professor Bapat, I am the weakest Prime Minister India has ever seen. I am supported by 23 political parties. So that is my opinion, but it will not be accepted. Then I started asking questions to various people. I was born in Pune, in Sadashivpet, so I asked questions. So I said to a Congress member that you are saying that 1/3 reservation should be there for women, then why don't you vote? He said, look, Professor Bapat, you are teaching politics and we are actually playing politics. There is a big difference between the two. You keep on teaching. I said, please explain to me. I can understand. I have enough intelligence to understand if you say something. He said, look, if 1/3 reservations are there in Lok Sabha, what would be the number? I had everything was in my memory. I said 180. He said, all right. How many are there now? I said 36. So he said, how many would increase? I said 144. He said, look, if 144 women go up, 144 men come down. So who would sign one's own death warrant? So we will never pass this amendment. Now this is passed by Modi, of course. It is already there. Anyway, thank you. Modi has passed it. many of my students were very happy that now we will have 1/3 reservation, women especially. But it was not given in 2024. When is it given? After the census and after the delimitation. Now census takes about 5 years, then delimitation takes about 5 years. There are a lot of controversies about delimitation. So you may not get it even for next 10 years. So it's a promise. By that time, Modi will retire. So he is very free. He has left the responsibility to the next Prime Minister. Actually, he should retire in September only. He's 75. As I told you, 2 years younger to me. So he's 75. And he said that at 75, you must retire. But I can't say because I have not retired. So he may not retire. He will continue up to 80 till he is thrown out by the people. All politicians, they go away when they are thrown out by the people. Anyway, so the point is, let me come to my main statement, that the Prime Minister controls the President, the Prime Minister controls his own ministers, the Prime Minister controls Lok Sabha, the Prime Minister controls governors, the Prime Minister controls the Constitution, and therefore the Prime Minister is the most important single person under this system. Now, you should ask me more questions, and therefore I would say how we survived for 75 years. There are some pillars of support. I will enumerate them one by one. The first is the Constitution of India. It is superbly drafted. Ambedkar said that we have ransacked all constitutions in the world and we have taken good things from all constitutions, fundamental rights from America, parliamentary system from England, so on and so forth. It's a wonderful document. So that is the first thing. Please remember that Nehru actually is responsible for objectives resolution that was passed, and on this objective resolution, our preamble is based. So the whole concept, whole dream of constitution is by Nehru, and it was correctly put into words by Ambedkar. So these two persons are responsible really for this wonderful, and of course many 284 members signed it on the last day, 26th of November 1949. But these two persons are special, they get special credit. Then the Supreme Court of India, it has continuously maintained principles of federalism, principles of individual liberty, etc., etc. They have protected the citizens. I must mention one thing, that not the Supreme Court, especially advocates that played an important role in the Supreme Court, and if you want one example, it is Nani Palkhiwala. If you know that Keshavananda Bharati case, in which the decision was given that Parliament can amend any part of the Indian Constitution, but cannot amend the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. Nani Palkhiwala argued before 13 judges of the Supreme Court for 32 days. And finally the Supreme Court said that yes. On the other side there was Sirvai who argued for 22 days. So you will find it was a feast for legal intellectuals. And finally the Supreme Court said that basic structure cannot be amended, and therefore we have survived in our democratic experiment. Many constitutional amendments were declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court because they are not in conformity with the basic structure. Some part of 42nd Amendment, some part of 52nd Amendment, anti-defection law, and recently Modi's 99th Amendment, appointment of judges. So you will find that people like Nani Palkhiwala, then Election Commission, not in last few days, but before that, Election Commission played a very important role. You see that Constitution expects a few persons to act like umpires, like the Speaker of the House, like governors, like Election Commissioner. Unfortunately, we have adopted the British model, but we have not adopted the British traditions. In England, a speaker, when once appointed Speaker of House of Commons, he resigns. He goes away from his political party. When he stands for election next time, he is elected unopposed. So he acts as an umpire. In our country, no speaker has ever resigned. They act as party people, whether in Maharashtra or whether in parliament. So you will find that they are not umpires. Media plays a very important role. Anything very small is unearthed and put before. Of course, many a time there is media trial, which is very risky. And lastly, and there I would end, we the people of India. Our constitution starts with this. The preamble starts with we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India, etc., etc. So anything who goes wrong, they are ousted by we the people of India. To give you examples, Indira Gandhi, when she declared emergency, after that she was not accepted by the people. Then came Janata government. It was a strange combination, rightist and leftist, BJP rightist and Communist Party leftist. So it could not survive. It was not functioning at all. So Indira Gandhi was re-elected with 2/3 majority by Indian people. That is the wisdom of Indian people. Then Vajpayee was rejected. Manmohan Singh was rejected. Next is, I leave it to you. So next, now the Prime Minister is Modi. Let's see what happens. Please remember one thing, that Ambedkar in his last lecture said that Indian democracy has 3 dangers. 1, corruption. Secondly, treachery. And thirdly, hero worship, Vyakti Puja. Now, once upon a time, Nehru, 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 Nehru. Indira Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, Indira Gandhi. Now Modi, 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 Modi. They cannot go wrong. Now you must get rid of this particular. Every Prime Minister of India, from Nehru to Modi, they have done good things and they have done bad things. So you must appreciate both. But Indian DNA is that once we accept somebody as hero, he cannot commit any mistake at all. Lord Rama, he cannot commit any mistake. If he distrusts his wife, that is okay. If he sends his wife to jungle when she was carrying, that is okay. Now actually, I will not go into it because somebody may be tremendously hurt. So I don't want to hurt anybody. But then assess rationally, as he said, rationality is very important. I am very sure about one thing, that we have survived for 75 years. We will survive for a very long time. And not in my life, now I am 77, so not in my life, but very positively in your life, India will be a superpower. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think the floor is open for questions now. Any questions from the audience?
Questions?
Please raise your hands.
I do not belong to any political party. I am a completely non-partisan person and teach constitution with total amount of neutral attitude. So you may ask me any question relating to the Constitution of India.
Sir, this was an extremely beautiful speech. You talked about all the facts, but at the end you told there are 4 pillars of our democracy: Constitution, Supreme Court, Election Commission, and then we the people of India. But in your speech itself, you told that Constitution can be amended by the Prime Minister. Then Supreme Court judge, they are elected by the President and with the discussion with the Prime Minister. Then Election Commission, that I don't know how it operates under a government. And we the people of India. Once at the end also you told ki जिसे हम भगवान मान लेते हैं, मोदी भगवान है. So are they actually the pillars? Are they actually going to support the entire democracy going ahead?
See, many factors are responsible. I have given only the prominent pillars. And as you rightly said, the Chief Election Commissioner is appointed by the President. Judges are not appointed by the President. There is a collegium now. Initially, when the Constitution was accepted, President, in consultation with the Supreme Court judges, would appoint Supreme Court judges. But Supreme Court said in consultation means in concurrence, total agreement, and then it was converted into collegium. And the result is very simple, that when judges started giving adverse judgments, Indira Gandhi used to throw them out. That is to be avoided, and therefore the collegium is born. So there is one big lacuna, big fault left with the Constitution of India, that at 65, the Supreme Court judge retires. After that, a fat government job can be given to him, ambassador to Switzerland or governor of some state. That can be done by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. So during last few years, 63, 64, the judges start thinking about their retirement, and they don't hurt the Prime Minister of India because he is going to give them a fat salaried job. There was actually a research conducted by Delhi University student, but it was not published on ethical ground. The research was that when the judge was appointed at 60 in the Supreme Court, out of 10 judgments, 9 were against the government and 1 in favor of government. At 65, 9 were in support of the government because he knew that after retirement he would be appointed on a fat salary by the Prime Minister of India. So there are faults. There are faults in any system. We should try to kind of remove those faults. So there are other pillars also.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So my name is Kalpana Singh. I'm a School of Law student. And I have a question it's regarding to Modi directly. I would be asking you, as you were talking about him, his criticism, and still he's getting a massive public support. And my question was,
Massive public support means 37%.
yes, sir, but still it's seen as massive
Yes,
public
yes, it is
support.
massive. Yes, 37 is massive. Go ahead.
So do you believe any of Modi's policies or actions have actually violated the Constitution of India's, Constitution of India? If yes, then which are those articles which have been violated by him? People were targeting him for CCA, for 370, for Waqf Board, and many other things. So what is your opinion on that?
I think I will not make any statement on this, and the reason is very simple, that I can clearly see you are pro-Modi. Actually, the person who had come to receive me, he was from BJP. So I got wary. Right from the taxi, I am very careful as to what I speak. But let me tell you one thing. Whatever decision Modi takes, it must be after consultation. What is wrong with Modi, that he doesn't consult anybody. For example, Corona. At 8 o'clock, he gave a speech and said from 12 o'clock night, there would be curfew. People were left with great misery. Now that was a wrong decision. Or Notabandi, that was a wrong decision. Only 6% of the black money is in currency. 94% is in land and gold and diamonds. And he said, by 6%, I will remove black money from India. That was a wrong decision. And then he said 15 lakh would be given to every citizen. I had been to Switzerland. I got the photo of Swiss bank, that here my 15 lakhs are there. Every time I ask Bank of Maharashtra, every morning, that are they credited? They say, no, they're not credited. So many wrong decisions. He doesn't consult. That is the point. And unscientific behavior. Kumbh Mela, for example. They said, once you make a dubki in that Ganga Nadi, then you are free of sins. My question is, why do you commit sins in the first place? Don't commit sins and then don't go to Dubki. He says what? That is a point of discussion. That should have been done before. You are quite right. That's what I'm saying, that the discussion should be before the decision, not after the, it is a post-mortem. After the decision is called post-mortem. See, I don't want to get into this because Modi said that you should have thali bajao and that would remove corona. How unscientific. Viruses are removed by thali bajao.
It's okay, we can take the
So,
next question.
let's stop here. Whatever you say, you have a point. You continue loving Modi. I have no objection.
Thank you. It's okay, it's okay. Thank you. We can take the next question.
And please remember, whatever I have read, whatever I have read in the Times, whatever I have read in the Times, that 60 crore people डुबकी लगाओ करा, बराबर है? 60 crore. There are no toilets.
Sir,
There are no toilets, and 60 crore go there. What kind of water you have in Ganga? Absolutely polluted water. So anyway, मैं नहीं जाऊँगा, आप जाइए.
Good morning, sir.
जाके आए, and still you are there.
Good,
You have good immunity. You have good immunity. Good immunity.
good morning, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is
Who is asking? Oh, okay.
Sir Nikhil Rani from LLM, first year. Sir, my question is something in this previous question. I just would like to ask, like there must be some hidden agenda behind what the Modi act. What I mean to say, there must be some hidden agenda of the Modi. Means in his the way he operates, because like for example, as you said, like, as he said, like thali bajao virus will go. Maybe the hidden agenda is that he wants to spread a message of the support of the support which he has as a individual, or rather.
I got your point. I will end my lecture with one fundamental duty of Indian citizens, and I will stop, because I can easily see that there are arguments where I cannot argue. There are two in Part 4A of the Indian Constitution, in Article 51A of the Indian Constitution, there are 11 duties. If we follow 2 duties out of these 11, we will be a super country. One is develop scientific temperament. Develop scientific, that is the fundamental duty of every Indian citizen. And secondly, renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. If you remove all traditions that are derogatory, hurtful to women, women are to be treated as equal human beings, not as subordinate human beings. That is the fundamental duty. If we follow these 2 duties, India will be a superpower. So whether we love Nehru or whether we love Modi, that's a different story altogether. As citizens of India, we must cultivate these duties. Read 11 duties, and that will take us to the superpower status. Thank you very much. No, thank you so much, because as I said earlier, this is a controversial, you talk on democracy, you talk on Modi, you talk on Indira Gandhi, you talk on Nehru, and it is always controversial. Some pro-Modi, some anti-Modi. So try to understand the basic concept of the Indian Constitution. I was not discussing Modi, though we had a few very loving exchanges between you and me. But still, please remember that we follow the Constitution of India. Thank you.